this reception.
Well, good evening, everyone, and it is time for Queen B. Listen, this is part two, dos. We are coming at you live back to back Tuesdays because last week, y'all, the conversation got so good, we had to come back and do it again.
Do it
Oh,
again.
yes. So, welcome everyone who is tuned in. Now, we do have a challenge that we issued to you last week. So, if you were here last week and you remember the challenge, um, get your people, start to list them in the chat, right? We're going to kick it over to Monte. Again, welcome to Queen B. Queen B is a presentation of Selma Air and the Monte Method. We are delighted to be here with you this evening. This is a project of the Alabama Department of Public Health through She's Ready, right? She's Ready is a program totally dedicated to Black women 25 to 50 to help us have courageous conversations about some critical things related to our sexual wellness. So I'm going to kick it over to Monte because he's got some splaining to do.
Hey y'all, so check this out. First of all, again, like Lydia said, just echoing her, welcome to Queen B. This is a platform for women. We don't kick the men out, but it's dedicated to women. A place where you can come and talk about some things that maybe affect you in your sexual health. Questions that you may need to ask that if we aren't the expert center, we can certainly get someone on and have a show about it. And so we just want to thank you all for tuning in. We want you to do three things: like, tag, and share. Okay. Now, the benefit of liking, tagging, and sharing for you is I am the creator of the Monte Method Custom Brims. And the person who creates, the person who invites the most people on today will receive a free brim from me. I'm going to let Lydia explain how we will know you invited the most people. So, Lydia, let them know.
So right now, just like Monte said, we want you to like, tag, and share. So in our comment section, you know where the comments are because you're on Facebook. You're no stranger to this, okay? So jump into the comments and type out and tag basically everybody you know, all the women you know. Tag them, get them to come into this live. Now, when we start to see them like and love your comment where their name is, that's how we're going to count whether they're here. Now, where their count will start is not written now. So, no. So, no, don't hit your friends up and be like, girl, just go in there and like the thing so I can win the hat. No, 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 no. You don't even
We'll
know what
let you
we're going
know.
to do. Yes, yes, yes. The conversation is going to be a beautiful thing. Y'all, we are praying and believing for release tonight because the topic, Queen Be Loved Without Violence, y'all. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is not just about breast cancer. We do honor those women who have gone through and may go through breast cancer, but we wanted to spend some time with Queen B to talk about the importance of knowing the difference between domestic violence and intimate partner violence, how HIV is impacted by intimate partner violence, and all of the red flags. Y'all have seen these red flags going up all over social media. It was a little thing like 2 weeks ago. They're gone now, but but we want to talk about red flags and how to recognize some of the signs that someone may be grooming you into a violent relationship. Because, see, not all domestic violence, and we're about to get into it, is related to physical. You don't have to hit somebody. You can demean somebody. You can control their money. Okay. So, Miss Chanel Nevins, she is our expert in the room tonight, and we are excited to have her here with us. once again, as we honor our sisters who are in the struggle of experiencing intimate partner violence, those who may be walking through situations of domestic violence. And I know that you all are hearing us use these terms, DV and IPV. I want to throw it over to Chanel to kind of just explain to us the difference, or is there a difference between domestic violence and intimate partner violence?
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be in the house again.
We're happy to have you.
Hi.
Yes, most definitely.
Yes, there is a difference between domestic violence and interpartner violence. Domestic violence can happen between a parent and a child, a sibling, or even roommates. Two people that share a commonality with each other, living together, that can end up in a domestic violence situation. Intimate partner violence is something that's totally different. It's two people, they do not have to be in the same household, that share a romantic connection between each other. And that's the difference. Intimate partner violence is somebody that you actually have a relationship with in an intimate way. Domestic violence can be in the relationship that you have with somebody that can be, like I said, a sibling, a parent, parent to child, child to parent, grandparent, roommate. All of those things can fall up under domestic violence.
So now, is there a way that, and I think maybe either Monte and or I could really even talk to, or well, really all of us. Listen, let me not issue this out. How do we see HIV and intimate partner violence? How do we see them intersecting?
Well, with HIV and intimate partner violence, there's one main intersection that I looked at, is the fact that if you're afraid of somebody, you're afraid to tell them to put on to use protection. That you might be told to do sexual acts that you're not comfortable with, and these practice of high risk behaviors can lead to HIV infections.
So I just want to add something on to that, because there are ways, like if you know that you are in a relationship like that, you're being forced to have sex, not using any kind of protection. I just want to throw something out there, that there are ways, other ways that you can protect yourself, that can be secretive. Speaking of PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it's simply a prevention pill, a pill that prevents one from contracting HIV during any kind of sexual activity, sexual intercourse. And so that's one of the ways. So if anybody's out there dealing with domestic violence in a sexual way with your partner, that might be something that you want to look at. Or if you know somebody who's dealing with it and they're scared to say something, suggest PrEP to them. And not just to those that are in domestic violence relationships, those of you that are sexually, and I'm veering off the topic for a hot second, but since I'm on it, those of you that are sexually active and don't like using protection, that's something that you can do and want to look into. So
Also, Monte, I just want to add this to it, that if you are sexually active, if you have a partner and you know, because we know sometimes that your partner is sleeping with several other women or men, you might want to consider, especially if you're not going to let go. You know, I know that's a problem for some people to let go. If you're not going to let go, then consider PrEP, because it is definitely an option for you. He never has to know. You know.
Yeah, good point, Cam.
Absolutely. And we do have a comment from one of our viewers who did state correctly that one, Dr. O, one increases the risk of the other. So HIV can increase the likelihood of a person being involved in a relationship where intimate partner violence is a problem. And so even we want to think about people and going to the doctor to even get screenings, right? And just how much of a hold their partner may have on them, and how sensitive we have to be as providers and asking folks to do certain things, right? And helping to provide for testing that may not be inside the clinic. So if there's a way for us to do STI testing outside of our offices, right? And being mindful of making the information accessible so people can understand, what's happening and what to look for, if by chance they're involved with someone who is not faithful, right? And they may be monogamous, but their partner may not be monogamous.
Not always.
Right.
Yeah.
So are there other health complications that can come up when it comes to IPV or intimate partner violence? Are there other health complications that can arise?
I mean, I think it's always when you're talking about, IPV and different things like that, you're always susceptible to different sexually transmitted infections, diseases.
Right.
Some people still say diseases, some say infection, but you're always at risk for that. And then, along with us, especially us as Black people, when you're dealing with that type of stress, then you got to deal with perhaps high blood pressure now, from the stress of it all. So it's always a health thing that you have to consider when you are choose to stay. And I won't even say choose to stay, because sometimes you have no other option. And so you have to do what you have to do. Now, like we said last week, can we get out? You got to do what you got to do, but you got to be correct when you do it, or you subject to be dead, So I just think that, it's always a possibility for it to affect our health, whether it's sexually transmitted diseases or some of all the things that we as Black people deal with under stress, health conditions.
Right. And I just want to pause for a second because I see the views are going up.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to tell those that are joining, because I'm watching my phone. Those that are joining, we want you to like, tag, and share. Invite somebody. We're doing a giveaway on tonight, a very, very good giveaway. Thank you. Very, very good giveaway. I'm going to give away a custom brim, one of my custom brims, to the person who invites the most people. And so we want you to like, tag, and share. And we're going to tell you how. Again,
and get this. If y'all don't want it, I take it.
Right. Well, I keep it. And
it's mine. You know how we when you be calling for the front seat. I got first dibs.
I know, right?
But look, I wanted to go because Kim just made a comment about some of the stuff that Chanel had touched on last week about doing it right.
Yes.
When we say doing it right, we mean getting away. Okay, let's be clear.
Right.
And so, Chanel, I just want you to touch back on some of those pointers and tips and advice that you gave on last week on how you could ease your way out of that domestic abuse situation, domestic violence situation.
Last week we spoke on when we get to the point to where we're tired and we've actually made up our mind that we're ready to leave, and how that situation, everybody knows, well, it's known in domestic violence, that's the most dangerous time is when a victim gets ready to leave. The perpetrator feels like control has been lost, and they're going to try with whatever they can to regain control. So what you want to start doing is, that you have made up in your mind, I'm leaving. Start slowly taking things out, not in massive droves, unless you're like leaving and you never have to come back and you get your U-Haul at lunch while he's going to work and pack it. But if you haven't gotten a secure plan, reach out to your local shelters. We will put the 1-800 national hotline number up for you. They can get you in touch with shelters that are in your area. They'll help you do basically like an escape plan. Start putting away small amounts of money if you can do that. We talked about, instead of buying, don't buy the $7 Starbucks and go to McDonald's and get $1. That's $6 you're putting back. But make sure that when you leave, you're leaving to where it's not so forced for you to go back, because you don't have clothing, you don't have money, you have not prepared. Preparation in these instances are very important. We have to be able to sustain ourselves once we get out. And that's what we talked about last week. That's why a lot of women end up having to go back, is because they've made a sloppy getaway. And I know sometimes, do not take this advice if you are in a situation that you have to get out right now. If you're in the midst of a situation that's in the moment, leave to save your life. But this is talking about over time, something has happened and you are saying, you know, I can't take this anymore. You're still there, but it's not to a point to where you're in, quote unquote, in danger. Do that. But if you ever find yourself in a dangerous situation, do not continue to stay. So I do want to clarify that. Do not stay in a dangerous situation to where your life, your children's life, or anybody else's life is in danger. But if you have the ability to plan, make those preparations ahead of time.
Right. I know social media plays like a huge part in like how we operate in our daily lives. The whole red flag thing, somebody trended that on social media. Everybody started doing the red flag. If he a Libra, red flag, lie. I'm a Libra. Like it's so many bandwagons that we jump on when it comes to social media, and it definitely influenced the way we think, the way we dress, the way we act at times, and a lot of things that we do. And so, how does IPV play a part when it comes to social media? How does social media affect IPV?
One of the most important parts, especially for somebody that has left or even the embarrassing point, it gives the perpetrator a bigger, broader audience if they want to publicly humiliate you, if they want to harass you. They can cyber stalk you through if you've left. They can stalk you through a lot of places. I would advise people, if you are in a situation that you've gotten out of and you're trying to not be around that person, don't tag yourself at places, because if he's stalking your social media page and he sees that you're at Applebee's, he's been trying to find you, especially for women who have put themselves in shelter. You know, you can't go places and start tagging where you are, because social media gives the whole world access to that. And even if you think that you have him blocked on social media or anything like that, you don't know who he's communicating with or who has told him information about you. So you show up at Applebee's, he might not come up to he might not say anything to you at that point, but follow you back to wherever you're going, which allows him to have a broader access of you, because he can watch you from a scope without you ever knowing it. So just be careful with social media. I know everybody wants to post it there at the beach. Everybody wants to post it there at expensive restaurants, and they're living life, especially if they're going through this, because we have a premise to make people on social media, which are actually people we don't know, a part of our lives and our personal lives. So, you know, going out and putting things about whatever's going on in the situation, it just leads to a bigger situation. So just be careful if you're in those situations, what you post on social media and what you allow to be posted, because sometimes we can make a broad statement and our friends and family know actually the situation and they go too much in detail with it. Right. And I remember working at the shelter and somebody posted something like they were tired of this. Well, I just told you to go to the shelter. But at that point, it could be a disclosure of location, which could make you ineligible to get into a shelter. So just be careful how you man and mitigate around social media.
I just want to add this, and not as it pertains to social media, but, you know, you be careful even in who you talk to. I shared last week how, you know, my friend told, you know, my ex where I was. I had went on a date with a guy, and, you know, and he came and put a gun to my head. And so I just think that you have, when you're in that type of situation, you almost have to be leery about everybody. I mean, she didn't think she was doing harm. She really thought, you know, hey, I just want to know where she at. I'm gonna go surprise her. You know what I'm saying? And then there you go. I got a gun to my head and I'm scared. This the last night I'm gonna live.
And it can be fear. Some people can tell out of fear. If the abuser, if the perpetrator has scared them, they could come to their house and show up with a gun, and it's kind of like one of us gonna have to get it, and it's not gonna be me. So it's a lot of manipulation tools, and we'll talk about, you know, that manipulative perpetrator, you know, as we go through the segment. But it's something that's really real, and and we do have to be very careful to who we let into what our plans are, what we're doing, and where we are during those times of trying to get out the situation.
So when you said that, I just want to talk about this for a minute, just because you open it up. I actually, just before we got on this call, I was speaking with a young lady, and she dates or was dating a guy who is HIV positive, but she talked about just how manipulative he is and how he's a narcissist, and all the money and things that she's given him, and he doesn't just deal with her, he deals with a lot of women, and he doesn't even, actually, he's been to prison for not disclosing his status, but it didn't change him. When he got out, he's still doing the same thing, and it's it's always that. You know what I'm saying? So since we were talking about manipulation, I just wanted you to bring up, how abuse in our finances people are, because it does happen to women. We give them everything because we love them, and to be honest, this particular lady said it was just good sex. It was just good sex, and I'm like, I get it. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt and the sign to wear to prove it. Okay, been there, done that. I ain't proud of it, but it is what it is. It happens. We get attached, and we there, and then they manipulating, they lying, and it's still a form of abuse that people don't think about. They just say, "Oh, he just horrible. He just," but it's still abuse. Nevertheless, it's still abuse.
Absolutely. I want to just kind of go into what we have really already started to step into around the idea of manipulation. And Kim, you just brought up about the financial manipulation or controlling people with finances. If we think back about the movie, What's Love Got to Do with It, and the story of Tina Turner and Ike, where he was not only physically abusive to her, but tried to hold her, even the last name, hostage during the divorce. Right. So just how highly manipulative he was with not only her, but with her family. There was a whole scene where her mom was like, "That's a good man." It's like, but what makes him good? Because he has money? Really?
Because
No.
he appeared to have money, because he really living off my money.
Exactly. He would
I'm
have
the
nothing
star of
without
this
her.
show. He
Right.
appears to have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what that lady was saying. Like, he drives nice and he dressed nice and he have people thinking he all that, but he manipulates you to giving him money. And manipulation can go both ways. Some men manipulate women to make them give them money, but then some women manipulate men to get money. You know what I'm saying? So it can go both ways.
Let me ask this question. Do you think that role can be flipped? Do you think manipulation on one end can cause someone to become abusive physically?
Speaking back to the lady again, it's something she didn't do, and this was about condoms. She wanted to use a condom, he did not, and then she said, "I got condoms in the car," and he was like, "I'm not using a condom," and then he proceeded to put his hands on her. So yeah, I do. I believe that if they don't get what it is that they want, then they're angry.
The reason why I asked is because, and I told y'all like last week, I felt, I don't know what it was, but the next day, a friend of mine called me, text first, and said, "Monte, I did something bad," and I was like, "What?" So I'm thinking he shot somebody. Like, what did you do? Now I'm panicking. I'm like, do I need to take a word? Like, what? So he says, I'm gonna call you. So he called, and he was like, I whooped my partner's ass. And I was like, what? He was like, Monte, I feel so bad. He was like, I threw him through the wall like 6 times. There was blood everywhere. And he was just like, I feel awful. And I was like, well, why? And he said, why did you do it? Not why you feel awful. Why did you do it? And he was like, like all the lies and stuff that he had been telling me about his sexual life. So first of all, he ended up getting into a relationship with the person,
Right.
which he said, was different for him. So he let down his guard and got into a relationship with this person. And they started, he started seeing stuff in his phone where he was asking people to come over to have sex with him, and all this stuff. And so one particular day, well, that day he had asked him, he said most of the time the guy always want him around. But this particular day he was rushing him back home, like, aren't you ready to go home? Aren't you ready to go see your dogs? Aren't you ready to do this? Aren't you ready to do that? So he ended up leaving. Well, he started thinking about those messages that he had saw in his partner's phone. So he ended up driving back over there and saw a person's car there. So he left, went back home, and it still didn't sit right with him. So he went back again. And this time, the person was outside in their trunk and the front door was open. And he got out of his car, ran in. And when he ran in, his partner was standing in the middle of the floor butt naked.
Wow.
So would you consider that like domestic abuse?
I do.
Or would you consider it an act out of emotion after all of this buildup of lies? And
so I personally, I think it's both, and I know that Chanel can, comment on it more, but I think it's both. But I also believe that sometimes when you do things like that, it's always a first time for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get that under control, it will continue. You know what I mean? He probably didn't mean to, he just was that angry. But then what happens when the next time you're that angry? I say this all the time. If you look for something, you're going to find it. That's the 1st thing. But the better solution is to walk away, because
that's what my advice. That I was just like, I understand how you feel. I feel your anger. But what happens to walking away?
Right.
I was like, I said, bruh, I just had a live on this last night. I don't know if the Lord had placed you on my heart or what it was I felt.
Right.
But I knew I felt something.
And
maybe
and I think when you think about it, when we talk about manipulation is not something that's physical. Of course, it's mental. So it's in the mind.
Right.
And anytime you play around in people's head, things can turn bad. But in that situation particularly, because there's, like we said, there's never any excuse for domestic violence.
Right.
In that particular situation, he also has to realize realize himself as well, because going through people's personal property,
right,
going to people's house uninvited is also a form of domestic violence as well. So he's slowly leading himself up to be a perpetrator, which it kind of exploded. Understanding being hurt, that is a natural thing, but we have to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in these situations, because it is not your right to go to, I've had questions asked a lot about, should females or males be able to go through each other's phone? And I will always say no.
Right.
Reason being, if we're in a relationship and we trust each other, that should not be necessary. And number two, the main reason is, if Lydia's my best friend and Lydia's having any type of female problems, she could be disclosing to me that she's been diagnosed with something. That is not my partner's business. She's disclosing that to me. Your cell phones, anything that is your personal items that you do not give people permission to go through, you are completely treading on that thin line of domestic violence yourself, because you are being invasive to somebody's property. You should not allow your spouse or anybody else to go through your phone, and they should not. If that's something you have, some people say, oh, I don't have a lock on my phone. And maybe that's a relationship that you have, but you should also be considered of, because I'm not going to text Lydia my personal business if her husband's going to be able to go through her phone and read something that I probably wasn't ready to disclose to other people. So we have to not only think about how it could affect us, but how it could affect other people. So no, partners should not be allowed to go through your phone, especially on the premises of let me see where you're doing, let me see where you've been. That's the same as putting trackers and all of this other stuff. It is the gateway to lead up to stalking, which is domestic violence. So we have to be very careful when we start doing those segues, because
It's the beginning stages of
it's
it.
the beginning stage. So because you'll find yourself in an argument with your partner and they'll be like, well, let me see who you've been talking to. Let me see and you'll hand it over to end that conversation. But what you've done is you've started a cycle of domestic violence, because now it's going to be, let me smell your panties when you come home, or let me do this, or let me do that. And so, no, don't start when you see those signs. Those are the red flags that we really need to be talking about, because they lead to that incident that happened with your friend Monte. Because if he would have never went through that phone, because one thing about it, if somebody is cheating, I promise you, it's going to come out. It's no way that it won't
will
come
be
out.
revealed.
It might not be to the fact that I walk up on you or whatever, because that could have happened with that. First of all, you have no right to go to somebody's house uninvited.
Right.
Mama, don't come over here if you watching. Don't show up at people's house uninvited. You never know what they have going on.
You better get notice to your mama on this line.
You know, don't show up to people. You know, and I was riding down the street and I saw your car in the yard. Okay, I'm not home. And
you better call me first. You better call me and say, hey, I'm riding down the street. What you doing? Can I stop by?
Last week, having permission to enter certain parts of people's lives, and you need to have permission to do that. So if I tell you to go home and check on your cat, that means go home and check on your cat. I don't want you here. And it could have been a situation. I don't know why he could have been. It could have been, I'm asking you to leave so I can cheat, or it could be, I'm asking you to leave because I just want my personal time. So that doesn't give you the right to come back and disturb that.
But imagine this, Monte. Imagine now he continue, the guy forgive him, and they end up in a relationship. Where do you think that's going?
Oh man,
he's already discovered that he doesn't trust him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so I told him if he went back.
Right, but I'm just saying, but if he does, so many women do. But I'm just saying, if he goes back, what do you think is going to happen? The beginning stages it's already been, the wheel's been set in motion.
Right. Well, I told him, I was like, you're always going to be wondering. And I was like, that's not love. Like, love is not painful. Love is not.
The fact that he went through his phone, it says he didn't trust him already.
Right.
So you had already somewhere in there missed the signs.
I had warned him in the first place.
But that's what I'm saying. You had already missed the signs or ignored the signs, and so then you allowed the ignorance and the missed signs to allow you to do something stupid. Which, if he wanted to, he could put you in jail because you were in his house.
Not only that, there's a thing called retaliation. Oh, I'm coming back, and this time I'm bringing people with me. So it ain't just I done whoop this person's tail.
Right.
Now people ain't swinging no more. People.
Right.
And the one thing about it that we just really know, it could have went the other way.
The other way.
Because we don't condone violence, period. Right. But we know it could have actually went the other way. And
exactly. And you came in my home and caught me off guard because I'm naked. That dude could have went to work on him.
Yeah.
As a friend, I said, you are not allowed to put your hands on nobody. I don't care what.
Never. If you got kids, that's it.
It's easy. It's so much easier to just walk away.
Walk away.
And now those two words
for a few minutes or months, however long it takes you to get over it. But the hurt will eventually go away.
It will go away.
Your record, if he had pressed charges, will be there forever.
Right. Exactly. And those two words that you said, walk away, are so critical, because then we think about the blame game that could have started to occur. And well, you made me. And it's like, but no, you're grown. Nobody can make you do anything. Right. I've actually heard that I had a young lady disclose to me about some abuse that she had experienced before we ever, got to know each other. And it was a cycle of, he would beat, oh my God. She showed me some of the pictures, like from the hospital. from her records. But he would beat her, and then the next thing you know, she would go to work, and then she comes home and it's a house full of brand new furniture.
Right. I
He
love
would,
you. I'm
right.
sorry.
I'm
I
so
didn't mean to
sorry.
do it.
And
My
that
friend just logged
that's
on.
a perfect
But
narcissistic
you made
trait.
me do it.
That's a
Look,
perfect narcissistic trait.
I got a friend that just logged on, and she talked about. She and I talked. I don't know, a couple of days ago, and she was talking about how she been locked in trunks. She been locked in home, just all kind of things. Cause men, they are manipulative, they are narcissistic, and they do those things when they think they can, or when they have. To me, they have most of them have mental issues that do that. Like I was telling y'all about the guy last week. I believe that is the beginning stages of a unhealthy person. And it's the beginning, like your friend Monte, that's the beginning stages of a really an unhealthy person. And if he don't control that,
And
guess what? It's gonna go right on over to
he
the next
kept saying,
relationship.
he was like, I cannot believe I reacted like that. But then, and I'm definitely not defending it at all, the situation at all. But he told me that there were a lot of other things that he had been dealing with that was making him angry outside of the relationship. And he said he was sitting at church one day, and the pastor was getting ready to pray, and the pastor told him, brother so and so, we're going to pray that that spirit of anger, rage out of you. And so it was that situation that broke, that like took him overboard. And so, he kept saying, I hate that it happened in that moment, in that situation. It was
And I
like
think that's when we as people, women and men, have to learn to take me time. We have to learn to love ourselves and take me time. Because if a pastor told me that and I know I got something really going on within, I'm probably separating. I'm separating because I need to figure out what I got going on. And
But
when
a
I
lot
say
of times,
separate, I
me
don't mean that I'm not going to talk to people. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to take me. That's what the girl that I was talking about, she just said, beat me so bad, but then will offer to help cover my face with bruises, with makeup. Like, I can't read it. Monte, you see it? You know, I
yeah, beat
can't
me
see.
so bad that, but then will offer to help cover up my face bruises with my makeup. Like the help he's offering makes it not so bad.
Right, right. But that's what they do. But I was just saying, like, if you know you got something going on within, before it allow you to get to that rage, take some me time. I don't care if it's if it's in Atlanta, drive around 285. That's a long drive.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in traffic.
The whole city.
What you got to do?
Go and seek help.
Well, that'll work too. That'll work too. But that's the one thing that we as Black people don't like to do. We don't like to seek help because it's taboo for us. It
And
it
when we
means
talk, I
crazy.
think that opens up a question that we had gotten. Can perpetrators have the capacity to change? And last week when we talked about it, of course, people have the capacity to change. I think anybody has the capacity to change. But from really doing the research on it, it's a very, very, very low percentage of abusers that change their ways.
Right.
What they usually do is go on to abuse other people. They have to be deeply committed. And what usually happens if you see DV situations, they're putting people into like anger management. That's anger management and DV, although that's not the same thing, because we got to remember DV is about control. It's not about being mad. It's about being controlling. They'll put them in substance abuse classes. Oh, he only did this because he was on drugs, or even with mental health things. But what they have to actually be able to do is get into mental health that addresses the abuse, not what, like you said, I was angry about something else. That doesn't lead you to domestic violence. And what they've learned is it is clear that a lot of those behaviors are learned attitudes and feelings. That's why it's so hard for them to change, because those are actually behaviors that they've learned, internalized, and that's their true feelings. Some men feel like women are less than they are. Some women feel like men should they might do the financial abuse because men are supposed to take care of me. So if he can't provide for me, I'm going to withhold this, I'm going to withhold that. So those are definitely feelings of entitlement and privilege that abusers have, that they have learned and internalized. So it makes it so much hard. It's like being in your 40s. It's so hard to go unlearn all of the things that you have internalized for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's been taught to you. So if you learn that as a child, that this is what love looks like, this what you have been emulating your whole life. So when you get to that one partner, because some people will just leave or whatever, and that behavior is never corrected, you just go on to the next person. So by the time you get to partner number 5 and they want to change or work with you to change who you are, it is completely hard because you have internalized you are who you are.
Right.
And that becomes a unchangeable situation. So the percentile of people actually being able to change that behavior is very, very low. And mostly because they want to group domestic violence with every other social issue. And just like
Don't go there.
you can't treat a cancer with the leukemia medicine, you can't treat leukemia with another type of COVID medicine. You have to deal with the situation separately. And that's where we are losing most people at, with getting them rehabilitation for domestic violence.
But now I do want to invite folks, any viewers who may be perpetrators, whether you are physically violent, financially, holding somebody hostage. I do want to invite people to seek help.
Right.
We know that there are a lot of things in place for people who are victims, but if you're a perpetrator and you are truly committed to change, you know that there's something, because it may be like Kim, what you talked about, the narcissistic personality. It may be that you're just highly manipulative. And see, now those are situations that can be helped. I would think it may take a lot of all of it's going to take a lot of internal work, but those are cases that aren't going to draw as much attention, right? Because I know that we have some terms like love bombing that we need to talk about, and trauma bonding. Those are things that can occur. And if people are perpetrators, if you're walking in a space of feeling like this is what love looks like, I would really just want to encourage you to seek something different, to seek help, to actually sit down, because it's going to be worth it to change so that you can actually live your life and experience love, because love should be freeing, right? Love should be something that you feel and that you are inspired by that thing. Nobody feels inspired when they can't hug and touch and love, like literally show kindness to the
Aretha
person.
Franklin said it best. Love is always supposed to be something
Listen.
wonderful to me.
Sing,
Come on
Monte.
now. All right.
But can we ask a question though while we're here? Is it anybody on that have a question that they would like to ask? Because I mean it's 8:43 and we just my time 8:43, 7:40. I just want to know if it's anybody on that have a question, something that's burning in your heart that you've gone through or going through. You don't have to share your story, but if it's something that you want to ask, I would love for you to ask it now while we have somebody on the line that can help you, with that situation, because it's real. I've been through it and I understand just how important it is, and because again, it's a whole lot of things that when you start talking about domestic violence and intimate partner violence, it's a whole lot of ways that can go, because believe it or not, intimate partner violence can still turn into rape, what I'm saying, different things. And it's a whole lot of ways this can go, and we would never get off the phone. And Monte will be saying every week we coming back with it. So I'm just saying, is it anybody?
This is good. Like,
right. If you have a question or something that you need to know or ask, please do, because I want that. I want you to get help by any means necessary.
Absolutely. So now we brought up this word, narcissism. What role or can narcissism play a role in DV or IPV? And for those who are just tuning in, I do want to just quickly remind you that we have a contest going on. So tag everybody in your female friend circle. Now we welcome men too, but this is, we're talking to the ladies tonight for Queen B, loved without violence. So tag your friend circle, tag your home girl, your female colleagues, tag all of them in one message, okay? And get them to like that message. They need to stay in here. So we want to see the viewers going up. We want to make sure that y'all are in the contest to win what you say? A custom brim.
You got one with you right now?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I think.
Go get it, boy. Go get it, boy. Because I'm
yes,
gonna tell you,
to show the people what they're winning.
If
custom
y'all don't
brim,
do
baby.
It's fine. And all y'all people in Georgia, y'all gonna see me sporting that.
Okay.
In fact, next month I'm gonna be sporting it just because it's mine.
So now, while he is grabbing their hat, I do want to just say that look, apparently that N word that we just brought up, the narcissism is touching on. And oh, look at the box, y'all. Even the box,
love it.
Beautiful.
I love it.
So you don't get the box, you get the hat.
Yeah.
Box is an additional accessory. Your earrings don't come with your dress.
Box.
Huh?
I can't have the box. I'm already claiming it because I'm thinking they ain't doing their job. Yes,
you want to see the custom brim. And now listen, so ladies, if you are in a sorority, he can make them customized to your colors. Hence,
that is beautiful.
Hence, yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Look at him.
Oh, wait a minute. Pause.
All right, Vogue.
Come on now. So, ladies, you can win one of the Monte Methods custom brims. Tag your friend circle and get them to tune in. And the more likes or love, so tell them to make sure that when they log in to like your comment, go to where you tag them and they need to like that. And the person with the most of those will win a custom brim.
Frida says she got the perfect Jay Bolin dress for that. Let me tell you, Jay Bolin is a beast.
All right.
He's the top celebrity stylist. Frida Jones.
Oh, Freda.
Freda,
you can't have that. This mine, girl.
She blocking. Look.
Right.
Look, but before we get off, we definitely, there's some terms that we want to visit, and we definitely got to figure out how to deal with this issue of narcissism, because I'm telling you, this is something that has come up in so many conversations I've been having lately with women who have dated or are dating or married to men who are narcissistic, and those traits. Like, what is a narcissist, Chanel? Help us out. What does that feel like if we're in a relationship with a narcissist?
The most known narcissist was Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was able to wow women to where he was able to lure them. He had a look about himself. He had charisma. He was able to talk to you and gain your trust. Narcissists are very, you become very trusted of them very, very easily. And so the word love bombing is usually in the term that's used to describe a relationship with a narcissist. And it's characterized by that person. They give you excessive attention, admiration, affection, with the goal of you feeling dependent and obligated to them. Because if I get up every morning and tell you that you're beautiful, and I text, be mindful of these good morning beautiful text messages. It could just be a good morning beautiful text, but it could be a lure, because guess what? That morning you don't get it, you actually long for that. It's something that you get accustomed to receiving, and that's a form of a narcissist. Because it makes you feel really good. It boosts dopamine in your body. And when you receive that, you're warm all over. And a lot of people talk about dopamine is that attraction to that person. And so you're blinded by a lot of things when your hormones are unbalanced like that. So and it gives you that special feeling. You feel needed, you feel loved, you feel valued, all of these worthy. And it's easy for them to get you to that point, and then they can start slowly taking all of that stuff away from you.
Right.
But you become so dependent on that, them telling you you're beautiful. So now if they're telling you that you're not, if you believe that for so long, then what happens when when they no longer tell you that? You become codependent on how they feel about you. And it turns into something else, because then that once they've woed you, because technically that's what it is, even if it's something buying you extravagant gifts and things of that nature, a lot of people will get very intrigued with somebody that they first meet that buy them expensive gifts. We understand that some people have the finances to do that, but just be very leery of why somebody you've only dated for 2 or 3 weeks will want to buy you very expensive purses and things. It's a lure.
See, now I want to ask this question because I'm not sure. Have you all seen the news reports about this man? I think he's like 63, who married his goddaughter, a young lady who is, they have a 2-year-old child together, and she's like in her early 20s now, but he used to date her mother.
Yeah.
And they recently got married, and there have been some posts on social media about it, like literally a picture with them, at, I guess, a church or somewhere. They're dressed in the attire in which they got married. And I'm looking at the picture like, Lord have mercy, this child was being groomed as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Gee.
And it's, even if you think about it, because coming from small towns, it's always been creepy to me to go back, and like, you're an adult now, but your father's friends should not, even being 40 and y'all 60, they shouldn't look at you in a sexual manner, because to me, you should still have that childlike appearance to them, because that's what they knew you as. Now, if you meet somebody, he's 60, you're 40, and that's just kind of what y'all like, and that's y'all meet at that age. But I'm very, very leery of men who have seen young girls, or women who've seen young boys grow up, because it's becoming very prevalent in the school systems, that have seen these people grow up from kids, and they start dating them, or having some, even being inappropriate with them. I think that you have to watch that set of people, because I can't say that it's pedophilia in there. There's no data to back that up, but it's something that I feel should be unnatural, and you should watch it. That's why I tell people all the time, and I know it's social media and we love to share, and we can go back to that and we'll finish this other word. But when you're sharing pictures of your kids that they share with their friend circle, when you repost pictures of your kids in their provocative way, in a sense, what they have on, even in bathing suits that they're sharing amongst their friend circle, you have to be very careful, because you have grown adults on your page that are actually looking at your child. And we shouldn't have to live life like that. But let's be realistic, because people want to say, oh, everybody's trying to sexualize our children. Guess what? People are sexualizing your children. You have to get to a point to where we see those signs. I shouldn't be liking my 40-year-old friend's son's picture in a boxes on the beach. It's inappropriate. And so I think that we as adults and people as parents need to make sure, yes, you think your baby is so cute. I understand she's beautiful. But when you start sharing her amongst people that are not of her age, you're opening her up to possibly start being groomed. And I've seen people, grown men or women on Facebook, say stuff like, stay out my baby's inbox. But you have profiled your baby out there to those people. And we hate to be that way, but we have to, guys.
And let's be clear. Chanel, I'm so glad you brought that up, because y'all, we have to be clear that Robert Kelly is not the only grown man who has groomed young ladies. One of the viewers actually said, she corrected me, the young lady is 18 and he was 63. So this child, the whole time this man was dating her mother, he was looking at the little baby, because she was a little baby.
And imagine this. You're if you're living together, you're home, You walk around. Me and a friend of mine, Danielle, we talk about that. You know, her boyfriend and his daughters, she doesn't allow them. If his friends is over, no, you ain't walking around in no little poom poom shorts. You're gonna make them stairs. You're gonna stay up there because while they are friends, they still men. And y'all, if y'all got
and we want to step over just with the men. I've seen women
yes,
even as father daughters and everything, you should not allow men and women, because we want to make sure that everybody understands both sexes can be perpetrators.
Yes.
Right.
So when you start dating somebody, it's your child's home, and we know children want to be comfortable. They shouldn't walk around in boy shorts. It's just some boundaries you're going to have to set when you start dating and bringing people into your home around your young children. It's a whole nother topic. We've gotten off of it, but what we have to realize, they kind of all intertwined in some type of way, because perpetrators are involved, and perpetrators just don't see a grown woman that they're going to beat up. Because if we do the statistics, domestic violence amongst teenage kids are on a rise. It is like at its height right now, because not only we have these people that are not getting help, their children are becoming perpetrators. They're perpetrating on your children at school. And it's hard for a young girl to internalize that, but it's that simple things such as stalking. And we talked about, was stalking a form of domestic violence? It's definitely a form of domestic violence, and it's interpartner violence, and it's an indicator of some forms of violence. Many abusers use stalking as a way to intimidate and control their victims, because it's nothing like me saying, I know where I'm looking at you right now. You're somewhere, and
I know where you at. I know where your kids are,
and stuff like that. So stalking is a way of intimidation, and it is definitely a way of domestic violence. That's why with the new law, stalking has been upgraded to a felony now. Felony stalking is a felony now. It used to be like a misdemeanor and things, but like we always said, and they advise you to go and get a restraining order. But as we will say, and we will always say, a restraining order is a piece of paper.
Right.
Women, men, we don't condone violence, but always be prepared to protect yourself.
Right.
Hey, Auntie Curl, she's talking about great conversation, but she got to go to another meeting. Thank you for announcing your departure.
Yes.
Were there any questions that we needed to answer? Because I wanted to talk about one word before I left, because it was something that I found. I know we're running out of time this month. I ain't coming back next week. I'm tired.
Well, we got the next win.
But I was actually doing research, and Lydia, everybody that knows me know, like, I get really deep into stuff, and you start learning stuff, and it's never stop learning.
Fascinating.
And so I was looking up all of these terms, and I came into a term that was like, what is this? It was called trauma bonding. And it's basically an abuser providing the victim cycles of reward and punishment.
Wow.
That develops immense bond between the victim and the narcissist that the victim finds is hard to break. And as a result, find themselves back in the catastrophic and potential life-threatening environment. So it talked about a police officer going to a crime scene. It's like, basically, it's you again. Why did you come back? And it was like, oh, he booked us a cruise to Hawaii and this. So it's basically what we talk about, that honeymoon stage. It will always be the honeymoon stage after everything. Just watch, you can tell situations when you have people that might be at your job, when they start getting all these flowers for no occasion, those are usually honeymoon trauma bonding situations. He just beat you up last night. He just did something, and he's starting that cycle because he's roping you back in. I'm so sorry. I'm going to counseling. I'm not going to do this again. Here are these flowers to show you my love. I booked us this trip. We're going to go on this trip. We're going to talk about it. And basically, you are bonding through trauma, the trauma that he probably is carrying, and the trauma that he's causing you as well. And so y'all have now bonded in that. And that bond is making it hard for you to leave, because at some point, when you bond with the person, you feel sorry for them. You feel like if you leave them, something is going to happen to them, because and before my time is winding, I know people have to go. Claiming suicidal is one of the most manipulative ways that a predator will use against a woman. They will say, if I can't have him, and kill myself. You don't want that suicide on your conscience. People will often tell you, if I can't, I'm gonna not kill you or harm you, but they're gonna kill themselves. So now you're carrying that. So you'll stay because you don't want him to leave this Dear John letter telling people that you made him kill himself. So watch out for those manipulative tools, because we are bonded. A lot of relationships are bonded through trauma. And that was something that I learned, and it was so intriguing. And I'm going to have some more information. So one day we'll come back and we'll make a topic out of that, on how that affects us in relationships when you've gotten that unhealthy bond to somebody that is so hard to break, because we know domestic violence is already unhealthy. But just think about all the unhealthy, intricate parts of it, and how when they start working together and you start putting all of this stuff in one household with people, how it has no good end that comes out to it.
Right.
So look, I know we just don't have enough time to cover all the stuff that she bringing, because she got me trauma bonded. What? Well, look, we have been talking about doing Queen Bee, and I'm looking at my phone as well. I'm looking down, looking at the comments.
Yeah,
we've been talking about doing Queen Bee live. So I just want to take a quick poll real quick. Next year, if we plan a Queen Bee in person, because for those of you that are joining just today, we do this every third Tuesday of the month. We've had some amazing topics and some amazing speakers. And so we plan this conference on next month. I just need y'all to type in the comments right now.
Next year, not next month.
I'm sorry, not next month. Jesus.
March.
Next year.
Why you just in my pressure?
If we plan this conference in 2022 to cover an array of topics, what did we do in the past? We did Bag Lady,
Saved and Sexy.
Saved and Sexy. How you can still be, serve the good Lord Jesus and still wear your jeans with your holes in them and still look cute and stuff. Right. We've had a lot of amazing topics. So if you are going to attend this conference on next year, because we're gonna do it, I promise you, I just need you to type in the comments, I'm coming.
I'm coming. And while you're typing in the comments, I want everybody to grab their pens and a piece of paper. Write this number down. It's the National Domestic Violence Hotline number. No matter where you are in the United States, no matter where you are in the world, they will connect you to somebody. Not only that number, literally, let's also go with 1-800-650-6522. They will connect you with the shelter that's in your local area. That number again is 1-800-650-6522, National Domestic Violence Hotline. You might not need that number, ladies, but it could be somebody that's on your friend list, and you could, if you see somebody in Facebook and they're sharing a story, jump in their inbox, give them that number. Let's encourage our sisters, brothers, co-workers, everybody to get help, to seek help. We do not want to bury another person because of domestic violence.
Nah.
Take the number down, period. Just because you don't know anybody that's going through it right now, don't mean you won't encounter someone who's dealing with it later on.
It won't mean you won't. And if you out here in life, don't mean you won't meet that narcissist.
Right.
I mean, so it could be something that you can utilize and end up utilizing in your life. Sometimes we go through situations, things are for us and we don't even know it. And we look back that was for me. I was supposed to see that. I didn't see it, but that was actually for me. And some people could have logged on tonight because people invited them and they just wanted to support. For my people that logged on to support me, I appreciate you. But it could have been something that was said tonight that make you reevaluate the situation that you're in. And if it is, please take notes of that. Please be mindful of the signs. Not just, we call them red flags, but they're signs and they're there. Jealousy, controllingness, all of that stuff. When you meet somebody and you see them turn the other way. We don't want to keep this cycle of domestic violence going.
Jealousy, control, none of that is love. I know they try to convince you to believe in that, but that's not love. But what you can do, this what you call it? This Queen Bee segment will be on Selma Ayers' page, my page, Monte page, Lydia's page, all of our pages. So if you know somebody, then go share it with them. They don't, I mean, nobody has to know. You could just copy the link and share it with them so that they can get the knowledge and the information that they need. Because sometimes we think it's not that, like, you can have a man that it does seem like he's really loving, caring, but you also know that something ain't quite right. Because this dude is always that day 2, he buying. Day 3, he buying, and then he controlling, and he won't let her go out with you no more, and all that stuff. So send it to friends just so they can get the knowledge if they need it.
All right, guys. So it's Taco Tuesday. I know a lot of us.
What about the hat? What about the hat? What about the hat?
I was about to say,
yeah,
wait,
like,
no.
I want finna end it. Okay. What I was finna do, I was finna tell Lydia to talk about the friendship circle with She's Ready real quick, because I see it scrolling at the bottom. So somebody might be wondering what that is. So can you just...
Absolutely. I will share that information. Queen Bee is actually a part of She's Ready. She's Ready is a program designed for Black women 25 to 50 who really are looking for a way to network with other women, who want to check in on their own personal health, and who just want to sit down and talk about some of the very same topics that we're talking about on Queen Bee. So Queen Bee is a virtual opportunity for all of us to get together. She's Ready are a number of sessions that the small groups get together, and y'all, we have a great time. Chanel Nevins, she is one of our wellness navigators, so she actually leads groups with us. So if you liked how Miss Chanel was talking this evening, then you need to email us and get signed up. You can either log on to selmaair.org/She's Ready, or you can email us at blackbeltwell@gmail.com, and then that will allow you to get signed up, and so that we can share the space together, so that we will all be a part of this growing network of Black women 25 to 50. Y'all, we chose that age range because more than anything, 25 to 50-year-old women, y'all, we are in the workplace. We are trying to make it happen at home, raising kids. Some of us have grandkids, maybe taking care of aging parents or what have you. So
you left me out. I'm like low-key mad about that.
Look.
I'm over them ages right there, what you just said.
No,
so I'm like,
okay. So if you're older, you're welcome. But
that's just the quote unquote target population.
Right.
I got you. But I'm feeling some type of way about that. Okay.
Wait a minute. Come on, Queen. Look, we didn't mean to leave you out. But we really, y'all, 25 to 50, for real, like that is that age where you are really, we're the ones who are looking for our spouses and may be walking into those dangerous situations, right? And thinking, well, if I don't have sex with him, then, somebody else will. Well, honey, let her do it. But we'll talk about that, and She's Ready. So log on to selmaair.org/She's Ready, or email us at blackbeltwell to get more information about becoming a part of one of our circles.
So question, is all of She's Ready there in person, or are they online? Because like Monte and I in Georgia, and I know Freda is on, and Freda has a group called Lotus, and some of the women might want to attend. It's a women's group, it's a private group, on social media, but some of the women's might want to join. But
one thing about us, we willing to reach everybody through whatever platform we have to do.
Yeah.
This is not about
it's
not about how you get it, it's how we're going to give it to you. So if we got to go Zoom with you, if we got to go telephone conference with you, this is information that we need people to get. So
Yeah.
however we have to get it, whatever works for that population or that group, we talked about it. We're going to expand out, might be on your lunch break, whatever you have to do for us to get you this information. We're flexible. We be doing some stuff. We just be. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to come work for Selma admin because I don't know how. But it's things we really are. We want people, however, we have to get these groups going so these women can literally. We want to get this information out to our community because what we have to understand, like even with She's Ready with the things. HIV, domestic violence, they can happen in any relationships, regardless of economics, economic status, ethnic groups, education, sexual orientation. Those are things that we are going to deal with no matter who you are, how much money you make, what housing subdivision you live in. These things can plague your life. So we need to touch as many people as we can because it's not a certain group of people in our communities that is touching. It's all of us.
Absolutely.
For sure. So Monte, what about your hat? What I do know
Who
is
won the
this.
hat?
I'm not sure. I don't, maybe some people weren't on, like Freda. I saw you had, like, you really did have like 5 people in, but you didn't list them for them to like it. I saw one person say thanks, Freda, for joining, but then I also saw your sister. So I don't know, Monte, did anybody do it like we said?
Now I saw Conical had a couple of folks that did.
Okay.
I
I'm
did
trying to
know
go
the
back
first
through. You saw her too?
I'm
Mhm.
looking at it too.
I tell y'all what, now I'm gonna take this hat, okay?
Freda said she coming to the conference with a hat on.
Right.
I can't.
Freda said she need to buy that hat. Well, baby, get my number from Kim.
All right. I got you, boo. I just saw, I was like, Freda invited people for real.
I would say it's between Freda and Conical.
Mm-hmm.
So Conica, how many people did you invite? Can you put it down? We're gonna go back and look, but I just want you to just give me the number.
Now, my
I'm
auntie
thank
Mom
you,
on-
Miss
my
Pat. Look, I
auntie
can't
Mom
win,
on
but
live.
thank
She
you.
get that off of
Freda,
here. Why
get
she
off,
calling
Freda,
me?
get off the phone.
Why she calling me?
Freda, how many people did you invite? Conica, how many people did you invite? Just put the number down. Tell Curly get off the phone.
Right. Dr. Owen says she old. She should just get one. Doc, you
All
are
right,
not old.
look.
Tell Doc I agree.
Coretta said, baby, when Freda invite, we know it's important.
Okay. Conical said she invited, she thinks like 10 people.
Do she know how many was, Conica, you know how many was on? Actually came on of the
She was
10?
tagging them saying,
Yeah.
thank you for joining. What Freda at? Let me see what Freda did.
She didn't put them down, like Yolanda Myers, the Corinda Brenner, what her name, Sonovia. Y'all better help me out. Say something. You know my mind ain't long, okay?
They coming in. They said I'm on for Conical. Look, people like, wait a minute.
Like,
Baby,
come
she
on,
done called him, oh, y'all get on here.
Okay, like let me rep my
we
friend.
trying to figure it out. We want to be fair.
Okay, so Conical said 4
Conica
people.
said 4 people. Look like that's a tie. I meant, Lord have mercy.
All
Okay.
right, Miss Francine. She's saying I'm still here. Look.
We can fix this.
Yes.
2 hats.
Look at you.
Come on, Monte.
I was gonna do a tiebreaker question, but hey, that's even better.
Monte said, I ain't playing.
Okay.
And then I got to buy one now.
So we want to say congratulations to our 2 winners.
Conica and Freda. Huh? Okay.
Freda.
So well, I can tell you how to get in touch with Freda, but Conica, y'all know how to get in touch with her?
I saw they're still posting on here.
I do.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we can say congratulations then.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't need
All
to go
right.
back and forth.
You
Oh,
like,
look, Dr. O said she hear 3.
who said that?
Dr. O said, did I hear 3?
Doc said, "Yeah, come on, let's
Doc.
go with it."
I got a surprise for you, Doc.
I know that's right. And you know what colors it needs to be too.
Right. So the
Uh-oh.
only thing that I ask that you all do when y'all receive them and wear them, tag the Monte Method Brims, let the folk know where you got them from and send them my way, okay?
Absolutely. Well, I do. All of us, we want to thank our winners, listen, and everyone who tuned in to another live edition of Queen Bee. We want to thank our guest, Miss Chanel Nevins. Girl, you brought the thunder, honey. We had to immediately have you back.
Right.
So we want to thank you so much for your expertise and being so willing to be so open and honest. All of you are. I think all of us have shared about personal situations and things that either we have walked through over the last 2 weeks. We talked about things that either we walked through or we know people who have experienced some things. So thank you to all of you all who have participated in whatever way, shape, or form. Also know that this video will be up. So just like Kim said, if you know somebody for whom this information is real life needed, y'all please, even if it means that you need to share it on your page and not just message them directly, but in a conversation, say, girl, go check this out on my page, right? Because if they have a partner who's checking their phone,
right,
it may be that message gets seen, that text or that Facebook DM. So, girl, just go check out my page.
And you got 2 weeks, last Tuesday and this Tuesday. So you have 2 weeks that you can share with them or share on your page so that they can see it.
Yes. So please don't forget to do that, y'all. This is valuable information. And again, Queen Bee airs every single third Tuesday of the month. So mark your calendars, okay? The third Tuesday in November. Let me give you a date because see, I don't even want you to have an excuse. Set your reminders now. So the third Tuesday in November is November 16th. That is right before Thanksgiving, a week and 2 days before Thanksgiving. So you will not be full off of turkey yet, okay? You will have plenty of room.
Who the speaker is.
Listen,
and are we
you'll
still
have
doing Danielle for the mental health and eating disorders in November, Monday?
We'll talk about that as soon as we log off.
okay.
Okay.
But again, thank you all for participating and joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in person in March 2022. Y'all have a good night.
Bye,
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.